D, wait for it, delightful.
Check out the name tag. You're in my world now, Grandma.
What's up, nerds? So it's Star Wars Day, and may the 4th be with you. So they dropped this episode of The Bad Batch. And basically they're just saying it's like season 8 of Clone Wars. But I have to admit, I didn't like this episode as much as I did like Clone Wars as a whole. Plus I don't really care for the Bad Batch as characters. But at the same time, I did enjoy this episode. I have to be honest with you, I felt it ran a little long. Some of the stuff they did, like they had conversations and they were explaining stuff, and the whole time I'm just like, man, like this is taking way too long. And then there's other parts, and I'll get into it. Like there's a scene where Saul Gerrera where I'm all like, oh, well, that was rushed. We rushed that with a character that's, been in Star Wars for a while now, even in the movies. And we're rushing that, but we're not going to rush. We're not going to rush this conversation about chips in the head thing. It was great. It's fine. But, so like I said, I did enjoy this episode, but it just ran a little too long in my opinion. So why don't we go ahead and get started to break down this episode? It won't be as long as some other episode, even though the episode was long. So yeah, let's get started. So here we go. All right. So it starts off with traditional Clone Wars fare, where it starts off with last time on Star Wars, except this guy is doing it as a newsreel. And they're talking about how, the war is going on and everything, and they're starting to defeat the separatists, and, Palpatine, is being, they're going to beat, they just got to find General Grievous and everything. And then we get to, I cannot remember this Jedi's name off the top of my head, but it's Kanan's, master, and they are being bogged down by separatist robots, and they're like, we need reinforcements, and Kanan comes in and he's all like, I found the reinforcements. He's like, and they're like, how many is there? And he's like, 5. And I'm like, of course it's the Bad Batch. And she's like, oh, we're doomed. Or he's like, we're doomed. I don't remember exactly. She's like, oh no, they're like no clone I've ever seen before and everything. So then they throw a rock down the field and destroy all these robots. And they come in and they save the day. They like wreck stuff up. They take these tanks, they hook them together, and then they push them off a cliff and everything. And Kanan's watching. He's like, oh, they're great and everything. And, they're jumping around, blowing stuff up and ripping heads off and all that stuff. And they come to this Jedi and they're like, we've come to save you, kind of thing. And I did enjoy all the action in this, and we'll talk about it, except like there's one scene that I just felt went on way too long as far as action sequences go. So then they're sitting here talking to Kanan. They're like, you want to come help us? We move pretty fast. And he's like, that's the only speed I know and everything. It's all I know and everything. So they go to follow him, and then his master, she stays behind. And they get the Order 66. Now, I have to tell you right now, I can't get enough of Order 66 scenes. I felt like the Order 66 was kind of like not fast or not done enough in the original, in the episode 3 movie. I don't like people dying, but at the same time, it's fascinating to see these stories come to an end. So she sees what's going on, and then her clones attack her, and they surround her and they attack her and everything. And Kanan goes to help, but she's like, Kanan, get out of here and everything. And then the Bad Batch go to fight to get Kanan. And gosh, I don't remember this character's name. I should have wrote it down. The sniper guy. And that's the thing. That's why I don't dislike these characters. They're just not my favorite. So I haven't memorized them. I like Kanan though. And I did like seeing this part of his story. So then they find Kanan, but sniper guy, he's shooting at Kanan because his switch is, his little chip is, it didn't 100% malfunction. Like it's still working a little bit. So then, Hunter is all like, we're not going to hurt you and everything. And then he's on this edge and he's like, hey, we're going to help you, little dude. And he's all like, and so he jumps over this thing and he lands and then he runs away. And if we know anything from Kanan, he survives and he becomes, a helper in the rebellion, the beginning of the rebellion. So then the sniper guy's all like, did you kill him? He's like, yeah, I stunned him halfway jump. And then he fell, and then he's like, looking out because he doesn't believe him. And he tells him later on he doesn't believe him. So then they head back to Camino. And right here he's all like, why didn't you look down if he fell? We were looking across. And he's like, he's like, some people do, sometimes you don't like, some people don't like to see other people die or something like that. So then they get back to Camino and they get back to little headquarters, and he's all like, you lied, that kid didn't die. And he's all like, why don't you just shove it, kind of thing. So then the Camino ends. They get this big thing from the Emperor. He's like, the first galactic empire and everything. And all the other clone troopers are like, yeah, and everything. And they're all like, what's going on? This is weird. So then they're walking through the hallway, and he's like, we have a follower, and it's Omega. Now, Omega is a clone, and we find that later on, but she's a female clone. And I mean, I don't know how she plays into it, and I have to be honest, I don't care. But at the same time, I have the right to change my opinion, because I mean, this character really didn't like do anything for me. Like, I was like, okay, fine, whatever. But I don't like kids in shows. They always end up screwing things up. Now, she didn't screw up anything in this episode, but I mean, there's always, you know, time to do it. So anyways, so she's sitting there, she's like, you're the Bad Batch and everything. And she's like, I like you, kind of thing. I don't know, and everything. I love how I did that little accent thing. So dumb. Anyway, so they're all like, okay, kid. And then science officer shows up or whatever, and she's all like, takes her away. And then Grand Moff Tarkin shows up. And he talks to the prime minister, and he's like, our contract is not up. And he's all like, that your contract was under the Galactic Empire, or the Republic. This is the Galactic Empire now. You don't have a contract with us. We're going to stop doing clones, and we're going to do just recruitment because it's cost efficient, kind of thing. And I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember exactly what he said. Which I was like, if I was that prime minister, I'd be pissed. I was like, don't mess with my money. You playing with my money, son? Because you won't leave here or play with my money. So they go to this part I felt went on way too long. This mess hall scene. They're eating lunch and everything, and she wants to sit down with the Bad Batch, and some other clones pass, and they're like, more like the side batch or whatever. And she throws some bread on one of them, and then there's this huge fight, and Echo gets knocked out or whatnot, and then he's all like, Grand Moff Tarkin's here, this is no good, and everything. So then Grand Moff Tarkin is all like, I want the Bad Batch to do an exercise. So the Bad Batch go and do an exercise. And I also felt that this scene went on way too long, because I have to be honest, I didn't care about this scene. Like, I was all like, can we get to the meat of this? Like, this is taking way too long. So they're fighting, and then they end up using real rounds during this. And they're all like, what's going on here? And they you know, they do a good job or whatnot, and they win. But then Grand Moff Tarkin's like, I need to send them on a mission. So then he tells them they're going to go and get some insurrectionists and everything for the separatists. So then Omega's like, I want to go with you. I don't know why I keep doing the accent like it matters. She's like, I want to go with you. And he's all like, no, you can't go with us and everything. And she's like, don't come back. And he's all like, what, kind of thing. So then sniper guy, he's all like, he was annoying me the whole time, because I'm all like, you know, and they, you know, later on we find out what happens to them. So they leave and they go to this planet, and they're finding the insurrectionists, and they find them. And they go to them, and it's Saw Gerrera. Now, I thought this scene was rushed. I was like, I would have liked to have heard more from Saw Gerrera / seen more of Saw Gerrera, but they just rushed it. But at least we got to see the beginnings of the rebellion. And then later on, we'll see more of that in Rebels, if you go and watch Rebels and everything, which I suggest going to watch it, because I personally liked Rebels. I liked all these. I liked Clone Wars more towards the end than the beginning, but I liked Clone Wars and I liked Rebels, and, you know, I'll probably like Bad Batch, just because, even though I don't really, the Bad Batch aren't really my favorite characters. Anyways, so Saul basically tells them that, you know, the Empire is bad because you got sent to kill farmers and women and children, you know, and he's all like, listen, he's like, you have two options. You can either you stay with the old ways, or die, or you can evolve, And he's like, it's evolve or die kind of thing. Basically, join the rebellion or the Empire. You know, the Empire has no use for you. I have a feeling they're just going to kill all the clones. I have a feeling about that. So anyways, so then they get back on the ship, but there was a probe droid that's seen everything that they had done, and it sent it back. And then this guy's all like, we should have killed them, kind of thing. A good soldier follows orders. So then Omega is in their quarters back on Camino, and she finds a picture of them with the robot and everything. And then stormtroopers show up, and they're like, what are you doing here? Take all their stuff to the hangar. And she's all like, you can't do that. And he's like, come with me. Then the Bad Batch show back up on Camino. See, this is what I'm talking about. This episode was too long, in my opinion, just way too long. But at the same time, like I did enjoy it. So they show back up and they're all like, what's going on? And Omega, and they take the sniper guy, because they get surrounded by soldiers, and they take the sniper guy because they take the rest of them to the brig. And when they get there, the Omega is there in the cell with them. So they take a sniper guy. What's his long shot? I'll say long shot. I don't remember his name. So he's all, they enhance his chip because it's still working somewhat. So then they're back in the cell and they're like, hey, the smart one figures out that the cells weren't built on Camino until after they started making the clones and the war started. So there's a design flaw. So the strong one punches it, creates a hole. Omega gets up in the thing, drops down, releases them, and then they escape. So she's all like, if we go to the hangar, they took all your stuff there. Your equipment might be there. So they get there, and the big guy's looking for his little stuffed bunny, which is right there. And then Long Shot shows up, and he is like ready to party, if you get what I'm saying. So then battle ensues. And he only brought like 5 guys. They're like, what is that? Bring like all of them. You would have taken them. So then, fighting starts out, and they're and he's like, go to the ship and everything. And, they go to close the doors, and a scientist lady, a Kaminoan, she stops them from closing the hangar doors. And nobody knows about it except for her and everything, which I kind of like, because it's something going on with Omega, and I'm curious to see exactly what that is, but we'll see. So then, this one's about to shoot them, and she shoots the gun out of his hand, and so she starts firing some more. They get on the ship, and then the scientist, this lady, that saved them, she goes back to them and she's like, the Bad Batch escaped, and they took Omega with him. And he's all like, we have to, this prime minister's all like, we have to watch our step because we don't know what they're going to do. We don't know what they're doing with the clones. We don't know what they're doing all together, yada, yada, yada. So she's like, absolutely. So then they leave. And then while they're on the ship, they're patching this guy up. He's all like, oh, Dolores, or whatever this bunny's name is. I'm not into stuffed animals, but whatever. It's a thing for some people, I guess. Anyways. So then she goes up on the bridge, and he's like, your first time in space? And she's like, my first time anywhere and everything. And he's all like, we need to go to J5 or J1. I can't remember what it is. I don't know who they're talking about. I should have looked it up before and seen if it was somebody from a past episode of Clone Wars, but I didn't look it up, so I don't know. But let me just say that I'm curious to see who it is, and I'll look it up probably after this episode, after I film this. So then he's all like, all right, take a seat. You're not going to want to miss this. And then they go into hyperdrive, and look at that face. She's super excited about it. So she's happy about that. So I have to say, overall, I did enjoy like I said, I did enjoy this episode, but it just, certain scenes just went on way too long for my taste. Like like I said, the scene with Saw Gerrera wasn't long enough, and the scene, like the training sequence, was too long. Canteen, it's not a canteen there, the mess hall scene was way too long. I just felt like the exposition just was way too much for this scene. I mean, but at the same time, I enjoyed it. I have to say, I am interested to see where Omega goes, but as far as the other characters, I just don't care like about them as characters. I know that's harsh maybe, but I'm sorry. I just don't care. So that is my breakdown and review of this episode. There's another one this Friday coming up. I will be breaking that one down and reviewing it and everything. Tell me, what did you guys think about this episode? Did you like this episode? Did you not like this episode? Who's your favorite Bad Batch member? I have to say, for me, it's probably Hunter. I like that he uses knives and stuff, even though I don't like his face tattoo. I don't like it. Or that the guy that's all smart with the glasses and everything. I kind of like him too. But yeah, go ahead and leave all your comments in that section down below. If you like this video, go and hit that like button. I won't mind. If you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate it. And I will see you guys on the next Bad Batch video. You guys have a good May 4th. May the 4th be with you. Bye.